Hello and welcome to Addicted to Lacrosse. This is Season 3, Episode 20. Today is Monday, May the 16th, 2016. My name is Graham Perro. With me, as usual, is Tyler Fitch. Unfortunately, Melissa was not available to join us tonight, so it's just me and Tyler. A couple of things to talk about this week. Obviously, the division finals have begun. Game 1 of each of the series went this past weekend. One just ended about an hour ago. And a piece of news that I guess we will start with. Some movement in the Rock camp as Jamie Dowick fired or relieved John Lovell of his coaching duties after a 5-13 season, which is, I'm pretty sure, is the worst record in Rock history. Oddly, Lovell wasn't actually fired. He was just relieved of his coaching duties, and Dowick has actually said he hopes that Lovell will stay on with the team in some capacity, which is a really odd thing to hope, considering you just took away the job that presumably he has been trying to get his whole career. So I'm not sure exactly what other capacity he is expecting Lovell to take, but he is no longer the head coach. They said that no timetable has been set for naming a successor, which is fine because obviously they're out of the playoffs. They've got 6 or 8 months before they actually need a head coach, so lots of time to do that. So this is a bit of an interesting move. I was asked what I thought of it, and my first thought was, if this is it, as in Dowick says, okay, we'll fire Lovell, we'll find a new coach, and that will fix the problems that we had this season. No, that's not going to do it. If this is part of a bigger rebuild, as in I'm planning on hiring a general manager, and this way I get to give the general manager his choice of what coach to hire, then I'm okay with that. And obviously, they may want to do some player movement and stuff like that as well. But if the sum total is fire the coach and hope that fixes everything, that seems a bit optimistic to me. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I definitely think he's got a plan in his mind. I think Teddy Jenner was talking about it on his podcast, that I think maybe something like Josh Sanderson to GM, Colin Doyle to head coach, if neither one of them can return to play. I'm not familiar with Doyle's coaching credits. I imagine he's been coaching, I don't know what they're called. I think intermediate is the level below junior. But I haven't seen him ever associated with coaching any junior ball or summer teams, because he's probably still playing summer until he's hurt now. And so if he doesn't have the pedigree to do it, it's just because he was a former Rock player doesn't make him qualified to be a head coach, even though he's got a great mind and he's great at setting up things. Like on the floor, the 3 years he was with the Stealth, he led everything, but that doesn't mean he's a whole team coach.
The Rock found that out a few years ago with Glenn Clark.
Yeah.
Basically jumping straight into the head coaching role, and that was I don't want to say it was a disaster, but it didn't work out very well. Clark has obviously been coaching at some level since then and is doing an outstanding job with the Black Wolves this year. But at the time, I think that might have been his coaching debut, which is a bit of an odd place to debut.
Yeah, steep learning curve when you go to an established franchise like the Rock. And you see it in a lot of other sports. Teams will promote an assistant coach to the head coach, and it's not a sure thing. I mean, Lovell got coach of the year last year and took him to the finals, but in a league like the NLL, the players can be responsible for that as much as the coaches. And he had a healthy roster. He had a great job, but when he had to put pieces together and coordinate their efforts, you had a 5-13 season, and it really could have been mostly on him. And apparently it was in Dowick's mind. So I'm really interested to see the plan that plays out. I do suspect Josh Sanderson will be GM. That seems like a lock. He's, I think, groomed by his father very well, and he's had GM roles in summer league already. I think with Oakville.
I think that's right.
So he'll be a great spot to do that. you don't want to have a job for life, but he could possibly just have that job for life. And because he's young, he could do it for quite a while. But head coaching role, I think is probably very much up in the air. I could see them going to Matt Sawyer. He does have head coaching experience with Boston, and he was essentially Sanderson's guy. I think they kind of put him in on a coup where the team didn't necessarily want to play for Tom Ryan anymore, and Matt Sawyer, who was a junior coach, I think, with the Orangeville Northmen. But we've seen a lot of junior A coaches go to the NLL just fine. Keenan is probably my best example. And so he's had that NLL experience. He could now be promoted from an assistant coach up to head coach. I think that'd be a better choice than Doyle. And we'll see how it plays out. What's next?
All right. There were a couple games this past weekend. First of all, I want to mention again the new NLLTV.com streaming service that the NLL has set up with a company called, I think, what is it, New Lion? Something like that.
I'm pronouncing a New Lion.
Yeah, looks good anyway. I've been impressed so far. The streaming quality was really good. I was watching it tonight, actually streaming it to my phone and then using Chromecast to get my phone to my TV, and it was a little choppy. Like if I was actually watching it on the phone on a little teeny screen, it was fairly clear. On the big TV, it was a little choppy, but certainly watchable. On the phone, I didn't see the controls that are there on the laptop, where you've got the go back 10 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever it is, and then go forward and pause and these kind of things.
Slow-mo.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Did they make you sign in this week?
They did.
Last week, I don't think they did. I remember I just went to the game last Friday and watched it, and then got to Saturday night, and I had to register an account to watch games.
Yep. Yeah, I did that as well. I did notice that the browser that's actually built into my TV, I have a Samsung TV, and the browser built into it couldn't play the game. I could manage to log in, and then it would just bring up a screen, and that was it. So I imagine the browser there needs to be upgraded, but I managed to get it working through my phone. And yeah, I've nothing but good things to say about that, considering the stuff we've bounced back and forth between for the last couple of seasons. So if that's what the league's going to do going forward, then I'm pretty happy with that. Now, it's also possible that they're going to test it during the playoffs this year, and then next year say, yep, we perfected it last year and it's all good, and now it's going to be $12 a game. That's obviously a rather steep price, but depending on what they come out with, some sort of season ticket package, I can see them charging for it next year, and I will grumble about it and pay. Yeah,
$12 a game would be outrageous. $7 a game I've done at times. I know Man Cup games I've paid $7 for, and I think in the past for stealth games I paid $7 for. But with the plethora of free video, it's a bit much. I could see, hopefully, like I would pay $25-$30 for a season, because you're getting 18 games. And you're getting replays now. They're not just one-time shots, which is a huge difference.
Yeah, that adds a lot.
Yeah, that's a great value add. And it should be league-wide, not a team pass. I can't see any point in this league of just getting only your team's games. But it would... They set the bar so low with Fox that I'd be happy to pay for this service, even though it should be free, because it was free back in the NLL days. But that's how bad it has been, that I'm willing to pay for it if that's what it takes to not be Fox.
And yeah, it's not even that we're willing to pay for it because it's so good. It's that we're willing to pay for it because it's not that bad.
Yep, that's bad.
So maybe this was a really clever the league has put together over the last couple of years, and now they figure we've got a service that's not bad, and we'll get people to pay for it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Game number 1. Game number one was Saturday night, as lacrosse games should be, but we'll get to that later. Saskatchewan and Calgary. What did I want to say about this one? This was a close game for a while until it really, really wasn't. It was I was going to say it was tied after one. It was not. Saskatchewan had a 1-goal lead after one. Calgary had a 1-goal lead after two. It was tied after three, and it just looked like this was going to go right down to the wire. We already had 2 overtime games, and this one looks like it might have gone the same way. And then Calgary just stopped, and Saskatchewan didn't. And they scored 8 goals in the fourth quarter, including 3 empty netters, if you can believe that. And ended up running away with the game. It was an awfully close game for a while, and then it ended up being a 6-goal game. So that was a little odd. Yeah, the like I said, both teams were playing really well, I thought, in the first 3 quarters. Calgary's defense, I thought, was doing a really good job. Saskatchewan's defense always does a great job, so that's not too surprising. Both of the goalies were looking really good. Yeah, it was just odd how suddenly this was a one-sided game, and yeah, just not what anybody expected, particularly with Calgary, because Calgary over the last couple of years anyway has been known to be sort of a late, I don't say late blooming, but they play well in the fourth quarter. They never give up. They're not they don't fold up like other teams do, or some other teams do. They're always pushing it right to the end. And I guess you could say they were doing that in this game in the sense that they pulled their goalie when they're down by 5. But, I mean, if you look at it, there's an empty net goal at 14:33 of the fourth quarter. They're already down by 5, less than 30 seconds left in the game, and they have their goalie pulled. I saw some people complaining that Cornwall shouldn't have scored that goal. But if you're going to pull your goalie, you're taking the risk that they're going to score an easy goal. And if you take that risk and you lose, well, that's too damn bad. That was your choice. So why they had their goalie pulled at that point when there's pretty much no chance you're going to come back from 5 goals in 30 seconds, I'm not really sure. I'm all for don't give up until the end, but at some point you got to be realistic. Did you see this one, Tyler?
Yeah, this game, I really enjoyed that fourth quarter, having picked the Rush to sweep the series, and I was very worried. I was thinking exactly the same thing you did about Calgary. They have played close games, had 2 straight overtime games, if not more. Sorry, I'm looking at their schedule. But the last 2 games they've had overtime, so they've been in fourth quarter games that have been close. So I really expected them. Oh, sorry, the Calgary-Vancouver game before that was Mammoth. That was a 1-goal game. So the last 3 games before this have been 1-goal games. The last 2 games have been overtime games, and everything was set up for them to know how to play in the situation. And that the last 2 games they played have been overtime games, and they got a little bit tired. That's my only guess for the decisive whooping that on them late in the game. Great crowd in Calgary. They brought down a bunch of people who've been put out by the Fort McMurray. Yeah. Fires, like anybody from Fort McMurray got in the game free. That was awesome. The 50-50 was all being donated to Fort McMurray. $4 from every ticket was going to Fort McMurray. They had a very Alberta strong, Alberta themed event, and they had a great crowd because of that. And kind of a bummer that a lot of those people already came in for their first game ever, and they were probably pretty psyched after 3 quarters. And then it happened. All those late goals and those empty netters in a single game series, that'd be like kind of worthless. But when they're going to play again next week, and the Rush just kept taking shot after shot, I can't wait to see how the next game starts, because that is going to provide a little bit of fire for the Roughnecks to say, all right, you got all your cheap goals in last week in the fourth quarter. Here we come. We'll see how that plays out. On the Rush's side, Zach Greer is really quiet, and that was worrying me. In the same way that the Mammoth had shut down Joel McCready in the next to last Stealth regular season game, and it ended up costing the Stealth the win, in my opinion. The Rush were shutting down Zach Greer. The Roughnecks were shutting down Zach Greer, or Zach Greer is a little bit off, and I was really worried. Like, boy, if Greer can't produce, how's the rest of the team going to do? But then it didn't matter. Robert Church. Who's the other 90? Good. I get a little trouble with their names and numbers for that team. That's not my favorite team. But
McIntosh had 4.
McIntosh.
Matthews had 2 and 3.
Yeah, McIntosh had a couple were just dunks from incredible feeds. He was low angle, sitting on the crease, and just catching shot. Those fourth quarter goals really opened things up. And so it's a very potent offense when anybody can get hot for the Rush. And it led to what we saw there. And they really tore apart the Roughnecks in the fourth quarter. And good for my pick. It's kind of what I was expected, though it didn't start that way. And I'm really excited to see what happens on the next game now that they've established this tone of the empty net goals. Any other thoughts from you here, Graham?
Yeah, it's interesting that if you look at the score sheet, you see Zach Greer way down at the bottom with a single assist and only 3 shots on goal. And then you look at the very top and you see Chris Corbeil with 2 goals and 3 assists. And I tweeted something like this: if you were told that Chris Corbeil would lead the team in scoring, I'm not sure you'd have predicted a Rush win in that game. But he had 5, Matthews had 5, McIntosh had 4, Church had 4, Dan Taylor had 4. So like everybody was stepping up. There was only 3 people on the team who had 0 points. One was Curtis Knight, which is surprising. One was John LaFontaine, defender, and the other is Tyler Carlson, who didn't actually play at all. Even Aaron Bold got an assist. So there's points all over the place for the Rush.
That's a recipe to success when everybody scores.
Exactly.
Kind of obvious, but yeah.
All right, let's go on to the Monday night game, which is the first ever in all history. And yeah, it was just weird being a Monday and having a lacrosse game on, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, so Buffalo in New England. This would be game 1. And it started off looking pretty good for the Black Wolves. They scored a minute and a half in or so, and then a couple more for about the 5-minute mark, and they started off looking pretty strong. And then Buffalo said, screw that, and scored 5 and took the lead and never gave it back. That was pretty much it for New England from there. They kind of got a couple 3 in a row at the end of the third, but other than that, they had a few goals scattered here and there. They just didn't look sharp. Sean Evans didn't have a great game. Ended up with a goal and 2 assists. Just wasn't a great game for Evans. And compare New England with Evans not playing a great game with Saskatchewan with Greer not playing a great game, and Curtis Knight for that matter. The rest of the Rush managed to come together and put together a solid effort and a win. New England without Evans didn't look like they really knew what to do. It was like, if Evans not out here quarterbacking what we're doing, and they just kind of sputtered and didn't play very well at all. Buffalo, on the other hand, started off looking like they didn't really know what they were doing, and then Dane Smith and Ryan Benesh got together and said, "Hey, let's win this thing," and they put on a show. Benesh with 9 points, Dane Smith with 7. Keto Hill had 4 goals, and he's coming on really strong. I think he had an outstanding game. I think he had a great season. It's good to see him out playing as well as he has been. Evan Kirk didn't have a great game. Cosmo was pretty good. As you said in your notes here, he didn't start off too strong, but settled down and looked pretty good the rest of the way. And yeah, things kind of got fun at the end when the Black Wolves realized they were not going to win this game, and Evans got well, he just lost his mind basically. Not sure exactly what happened beforehand, but he turned and sort of pushed Andrew Watt a couple times and got pushed back, and then just socked him across the jaw. And Mitch Desnu didn't like that too much, and so they fought. And so there's Evans in the box, and any hope of a last-minute comeback for the Black Wolves went right down the toilet with Sean Evans sitting in the box for 5 minutes. So yeah, an entertaining game for the most part. What did you think, Tyler?
Yeah, a little Monday night action. Not quite the ring of Monday Night Football, but Monday Night Lacrosse worked for me. Yeah, the first 3 goals by New England felt good. They felt like they're at home and they were in control. And then Derek Suttons took a 5-minute major, and is that right? Yeah, 5-minute major, which 8 seconds later, Buffalo got their first goal, and it all started rolling from there. They ended up with 4 more in that first quarter, took a 5-3 lead. New England scored a goal and then gave up 3 and scored another one. Then they gave up 3 more. So by the middle of the third period, they were down 11-5. And they were able to score 3 in a row to finish off the third, but that makes it 11-8, which is not an impossible. 3 goals is not an impossible a barrier to overcome in a quarter, but they really never strung anything together. And when they needed it in the fourth quarter, like you said, Graham, Sean Evans was in the penalty box because he lost his head. It wasn't good. He drew a 5-minute major earlier when he got checked in the back and was cross-checked to the lower back, which I've rarely seen called for 5 minutes, but he hit the ground and just laid there like he was paralyzed and sold it, and it worked. He got the 5-minute major on let's see who it is. Keto Hill. Yeah, he got him to he did that, sold that cross check well, but that was in the second quarter, and New England had wasn't related to that. No power play. They took a 5-minute major, and because Sean Evans had to go off because he was injured, the offense sputtered, and they took a 5-minute major and got no goals. He's the stir that's the straw that stirs the offense, or the drink for the New England, and he wasn't out there. He needs to be on the floor for them to have a chance to win in Buffalo. I don't know any other way that they can win. I was really kind of doubting Cosmo. I said in my notes for my pick last week that New England can win this little series because of Evan Kirk, but he had an off game, and you don't have time for off games. It's the playoffs. Cosmo historically does not do well in the NLL playoffs. He's never won an NLL title. He's won several Man Cups. He's been the MVP of Man Cup tournaments, but he hasn't found that same success in the NLL, and I thought it would catch up with him here, but he's on a number 1 team, and he's well positioned now to play a home game and move into the finals. Making my pick look pretty bad, but I didn't know Evans was going to play like this. Dane Smith got the actual first star. I think Cato Hill's performance had more impact and more timely goals, and kind of playing out both ends of the floor. I actually would have given him my first star vote. And I think what else I got here? Yeah, cover my points there. Looking forward to seeing them play next weekend, not on Monday. And See if anybody. Well, they both will advance because of the mini game thing. Kind of forgot about the mini game. I think the actual finals is 3 whole games, or is that not right? Yeah,
that's right.
So I kind of forgot about the mini game, but I will see. I still think the Rush can get it, and I think if New England can play a strong game, I like Sean Evans in a 10-minute game situation. So my picks still have a chance of working out just fine.
So both games are next Saturday night. New England Buffalo at 7:30 Eastern and Calgary Saskatchewan at 9:30 Eastern. So hopefully the New England Buffalo game will be just ending around the time that the Rush Roughnecks game gets started. So we won't have to miss any of it. So that'll be good. Moving on, I guess we can talk about our predictions. We actually did predictions for the series, not each individual game. So we are still at the same numbers that we were last week, technically. So I guess we'll just go over those again quickly. I picked Buffalo to win the East, and both you and Melissa picked New England to pick the East, or to win the East, and all 3 of us picked the Rush to win the West. And so far, my picks are looking good. But like you said, Tyler, it's not over till it's over. And New England can certainly win game 2, and then all bets are off in the mini game / tiebreaker game / whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I guess that's about it for predictions, seeing as we don't have any more to make. And that's a pretty short episode, considering there's only 2 games and 1 coach firing and not much else. So, Is there anything else that you want to go over?
No, can't think of it right now. High school lacrosse is still going strong out here in Washington. So the state playoffs are happening. The team I help is still in it. So yay, go Union Lacrosse Titans.
All right. Well, good luck with that. There's one other thing I guess we can mention. I don't know if you saw this, but in the Major League Lacrosse game this past weekend, Brody Merrill took literally a last-minute Hail Mary shot from behind his own net that traveled 90-something yards and went straight into the other net for a 2-point goal that tied the game, and his team actually won it in overtime. What can you say about that? That was unbelievable.
It was so improbable that there was no camera angle that clearly caught the ball going in. Like, he just whipped the ball as hard as he could. I think an attackman, ran in front to give a slight screen on the goalie, but the goalie was in the cage. It wasn't even like he was out riding somebody. Sometimes you see those heaves, and it's the team's doing what we call a 10-man ride in field, where everybody's out on somebody, so the goal's actually open. The goalie was in the goal. Brody was 90-some yards away. It's listed as 80, which is not even close, because the end line is, like 90-some yards away. And he just whipped as hard as he could in 3.5 seconds, and it went in, and it's mind-boggling.
Does field lacrosse work the same way as basketball, in that once the ball's in the air, it doesn't matter if time runs out? Or is it more like the NLL, where the ball has to be in before the time runs out?
It's like the NLL. Major League might have changed something, but I'm pretty 90% sure.
Anyway, but
yeah. Oh. A little bit of a lag here, but it has to be in.
All right. Well, yeah. Anyway, that was a pretty outstanding goal. So nice job, Mr. Merrill. Yeah, I guess that's about it for this week. So hopefully all 3 of us will be available next weekend. Yeah, that's it. So
would you have mentioned it if Brody Merrill wasn't a rock player?
No, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
All
right.
In theory. I did see actually a couple of people saying, of course it's a guy named Brody that would score it, with the whole, people, the whole stereotype about lacrosse players with these fancy names. And I just thought, well, as long as it wasn't somebody like Steele Stanwyck, which is the quintessential stereotypical lacrosse name. But it didn't occur to me that this was a weird thing that I don't know, the lacrosse players.
You can search inside Lacrosse for the all name team every year, and they're pretty outrageous names. But
Well,
Brody
I
is
mentioned
just a name.
Yeah, there's lots of Brodies around, but
If you
I
grew
mentioned
up
something
with
about
Point Break, it's just a name. That's Bodie. Never mind.
I mentioned something about Steele Stanwyck on Twitter, and somebody said that his brother Wick Stanwyck has the worst name, and I looked it up, and there's like 6 of them or something, and
There's a lot of Stanwicks, and
they
they even
all
have a
have these
sister.
odd names.
Yeah. So yeah, there's the parents. I think they're just trolling everybody at this point. They're trolling everybody 20 years ago when the kids are being born, but they really let them have it.
Yep. Yeah, not a Dave or Steve or Bob or anywhere in the bunch there at all. Anyway, I guess that'll do it. So this has been another episode of Addicted to Lacrosse. For Tyler and the absent Melissa, I'm Graham. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.